What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one, as it is the very last day before the players arrive at training camp. Who check your mother effing pulse, baby. I don't know if you ain't got the tingles running up and down your spine at the thought of football being right back in just a mere matter of days, then what are you doing here to begin with? That's what I gotta ask you. But on top, I appreciate you for being here. If you are, please do me the favor, smash that like button, subscribe if you are new. We are on our way to 12K. So we are about 275 away from 12K. So let's get there. I want to get to 13K by the end of training camp. Let's do it. 13 is my lucky number, and you already know the reason why that is. Anyways, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Tyreek Hill, we got some resolution. Some, not all, some resolution. We will talk about that. On top of that, we got some updates, some holdout updates, some injury updates. Dolphins out here making the top 10 and early prior to training camp power rankings. Good camp preview article by Marcel Louis-Jacques. That's behind a paywall for all of you, but because I'm Canadian for some reason, no paywall, no bueno paywall up here. And then, we got some stuff to go over. We got some stuff to go over tonight. It is tomorrow, guys. So here's the deal. Tomorrow, because I know what everyone's wondering what's going to happen. Okay, so here, let me fill you in. Tomorrow, players report. I have heard that there will be podium interviews with McDaniel and with players and such. Wednesday will be the first day of practice, and the media will be there. So as we know, fans will not be at practice until Sunday, but the first practice media will be on Wednesday. All right? So I'll be live it works out perfectly. I'll be live with Richmond and Ball Game Wednesday evening. I'll recap everything. You already know this is the number one spot, and it has been for the last couple offseason. This is the number one spot in the Dolphins community on YouTube for your training camp coverage. You already know what time it is. Thank you all for making me the number one live streamer out here. I appreciate all of y'all. So you already know what time it is. And then Thursday, we're going to be live again, and we're going to be live around 5 o'clock, me and Neil. So, hey, training camp coverage, you don't need to go anywhere else other than Phinside The NFL. I got you guys. Everything that's behind the paywalls, I got you guys, all right? I got y'all. You already know what time it is. We do it every year, and every year y'all come through and support and show love. So I expect this to be no different. Excited, man. I'm excited to get into some meaningful football and some meaningful talk. Whew. Let's get into it, man. No, I don't think he looked. I don't think he looked overweight. I think this man looks. People seem to forget, and I'm not talking about you specifically, Michael. Samoans are naturally stocky, huh? Like Samoans are naturally filled out and stocky, and that's what he is. He's just a thick, paws. He's just a thick, stocky guy. That's all that is. And he's guys. Let's be honest right now. What are you witnessing? I don't think people really put into perspective what we've witnessed and what he's really had to go through. And I always talk about this, and this is why I take offense to a lot of the people not understanding this man's journey. Guys, this guy, while Burrow and Herbert were working on preparing for the NFL level and getting to know their playbooks and getting to know their offenses, Tua was working his way back so he could get on the field from an injury that's career-threatening, an injury that doesn't usually happen unless you're in a car accident. We've gone over that ad nauseum. And what people seem to tend to forget is, while these guys were growing in their body, while these guys were growing their strength, while these guys were transitioning their bodies into NFL-ready bodies, Tua was just trying to get back to what he was at Bama. He was just trying to get back to that level. So once he got back to that level, then he got working with Nick. Then with Nick, remember what Nick said. When Nick got a hold of him in his first offseason after his first year, right, he couldn't even stand on one leg for longer than 30 seconds a minute. So then you had to stabilize his hip. You had to get his body right. If you think about it, ladies and gentlemen, Tua's been playing catch-up with his body to everyone that was in the same draft class with him, quarterback or not. The injury set him back. And it actually set him back 2 off seasons, right? Because it set him back the off season he was injured, the draft year, and then it set him back the next season because the next season they had to stabilize the hip and get everything right and get his body just normal. Then what did Nick tell us? Year 2 with Nick, so last offseason was when they started working on strength, right? They worked on strength, footwork, etc. They really started transforming. He really didn't start transforming his body till last year when guys were starting out of college transforming their body. Look at Herbert, just to use an example of how guys were using the most of their time. Herbert had never taken a single solitary snap under center while he's at Oregon. When, during his offseason, heading into the draft and after the draft, what was he doing? Practicing and taking a lot of reps with his quarterback coach and with receivers and with an offensive line, taking snaps under center, getting used to the motions. Well, Tua's not working on working on his weaknesses and getting them right for the NFL. He was working on getting his body so he could touch grass on a football field. So people really always seem to lose sight. That's why you're seeing the velocity increase each year. That's why we noticed last year, there's more zip than the year before. After his first year with Nick, when they stabilized the hip, we noticed there's more zip than what we saw in the year prior. And now I've seen videos, I've talked to Nick, I've talked to people, there's more zip again. You're seeing another increase in zip. And that's all because he's coming into his man body, he's coming into his NFL body right now, right? He's hitting his mid-20s. Now he's going to start coming into all of that. And that's why these people, evaluations are a tricky game because with someone like that, you got to project stuff. You got to project more than the normal prospect. You got to project, okay, if he gets his body right, what are the results going to be? What am I going to see? And let's be honest, from Alabama to Miami, I've been pretty damn spot on with projecting Tua Tagovailoa. Everything that he needed to fix that I pointed out, he's worked on. Remember, last year under Flores, remember me and Martin and Ballgame were losing. Well, Ballgame wasn't losing much, but me and Martin losing our hair because the footwork just went to disaster. What was the number one thing they worked in the offseason? The footwork. Right? And we go over this all the time. From coaching to player, personnel, I've said that needed to be better around him. They made it better around him because we saw the flashes, et cetera, et cetera. So with him, it's a tougher projection because you got to project with injury too. But he's getting back to it. Listen, Nick Hicks tweeted this out a couple months ago, and I want everyone to remember this. Whether you're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever the case may be, no one believed in Nick Hicks and Tua's process more than this guy right here from the get-go. No one supported it publicly with a platform like me. And look at right again, because I do my research. I talk to the right people. You know what I mean? And you know what you're talking about. That's what it all comes down. It's not a secret sauce. You know what I mean? And while these people were mocking, while these people were hating, and look at you as the fans, look at the changes you've seen over the last few years, especially last year. Anyone who's watched every snap from him from coming in against the Jets in relief to where we are now, you can see it. From the disaster in the Rams to the amazing game in Arizona in year 1. You saw the lows, but you also saw the flashes. What were those? You saw the ceiling, you saw flashes of the ceiling, and you saw flashes of the floor. That's what you were seeing early on. But people aren't deciphering things like that, right? And they're trying to set their agendas, and they got their narratives, and they want to lie to all of y'all because they got those agendas and those narratives. And the fact of the matter, we're just always going to have to come to grips with this as a fan base, and those who support our quarterback and those who are truly fans of the logo, because any true fan of the logo, you do not want to see your franchise starting quarterback suffer, lose, or whatever, because you know what that means? That means your team sucks, and that means the logo sucks. And I'm not here to watch my logo suck. I'm here to watch this logo have a couple more of those placed behind me. That's what I'm here for. So I need my franchise quarterback, and I think we got the right guy as long as he stays healthy. That's always been the caveat. You know what I mean? The thing is, I can just sit back and say I was right about his ability. So, and a lot of you in the chat who have believed in him since day one, you can all pat yourself on the back because you were all right about his ability. Now, the only thing these people got left to cling on to are his health, but then you got some who want to cling on to December games, not realizing and looking at his two previous years before. The guy's won games in December. What are we acting like that he hasn't won games? And if it wasn't for Josh Boyer and that defense last year, he would have won probably one of the more important December games he's ever played last year, because him in that offense, and or Tyreek Hill or Trent Sherfield caught the football, because he certainly did enough to win in Buffalo. I don't know about everyone else. Tua Tagovailoa was one of the few people in that room after that Buffalo game that could have hung his head high and said, well, I did enough to win. We didn't get the W, but I didn't do it. I did enough to win. He can say that. Go back and watch the film. He can say that. Josh Boyer can say, I didn't do enough to win. Tyreek Hill, Trent Sherfield can say, I didn't do enough to win. Some of those defensive players can say, I didn't do enough to win on that 3rd and long drive that they ended up giving up a touchdown on before the half, okay? Those are the people that got to look themselves in the mirror on games like that. Anyways. Speaking of December games, Dalvin Cook, we all know, right? Say what you want. Say what you want. We need running back help come December and January, because the track record of Jeff Wilson Jr. and Raheem Mostert, they don't stay healthy in those months. And Dalvin Cook would allow them to stay healthy, because I think you keep them all on the team. In saying that, I've had people ask me, hey, Reason, I heard you talk about the Dalvin Cook thing on the weekend. Did you see the video going around? Well, first of all, that video was like a year old. All right. The one that's going around about his girlfriend. 13 is my lucky number. S-Tribe, because Dan Marino. My two favorite athletes growing up, Dan Marino and Mario Lemieux. And Dan Marino, I wore, that was the number I wore, baseball, football, and hockey. 13 was my number in everything that I played growing up and into my teens and early 20s and such. 13 was my number. So it's just been my lucky number ever since, you know what I mean? So it's a number I'll play, et cetera, on, lottery tickets or, playing a little roulette, whatever the case may be. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Dalvin Cook, people have asked me about the video that is circulating. Yeah, I've seen it. The video is like a year old. It's from like June. If you guys have not seen the video that I'm talking about, I'll play it for you quickly here. Okay, this was recorded by Zach Sieler. This is recorded by Dalvin Cook's agent. All right, he's also the agent of Cam Smith, I believe. I know LLA represents Cam Smith. So, you can hear, because his girlfriend's Gracelyn Trimble, so you can hear him. You can hear them say Grace, Grace, Grace. Listen to what she says. Like, because I got to talk about this for a sec.
Ooh,
Grace, Grace, you're blocking him. Come on.
Zach, I'm gonna block him.
But that's...
You can call the police. You can call whoever.
Nobody wants to call the police. Just let him go.
No. Okay, let me talk to him.
No talking. No talking. Like,
you owe that to me. You owe that to
shit
me.
to nobody. I don't owe. Let my hair go.
Grace.
Let it go. Stop.
Yeah, I'm gonna punch on your shit again.
You can have it,
Swear to
bro.
God, get my gun and pull that bitch on
All right, get your
you.
gun.
Dumbass nigga, get this shit out of here
Pull
too.
your gun.
Get,
Who your gun? Who, bro?
Grace, stop.
I mean, we got to talk about this for a sec. Because we need to know the context of everything, all right? Because I want people to understand, she's a former Marine, All right. Okay. She's a Marine. I want people to realize this. If you haven't done your research on her, she's a Marine. Okay. That's number one. Do we got to get into what Marines are trained to do? Hell, she could just be a foot soldier. She could just be a soldier in the army. Do we got to get into what they're trained to do? You know what I mean? Do we really got to get into what they're trained to do? That's the first thing I'm going to say about this. Okay? All right. Now you got her right there. All right? And she's a sergeant too. Like she's you know what I'm saying? Like she's you know, I'm just saying. Anyways, I'm pretty sure she's a Marine from what I understand too. But my whole point where I'm going with this is, all right, you heard her. She literally said she's, first of all, they're in an open carry state because the way they met on a beach in South Florida. And so they're in an open carry state, and this chick who's a Marine, a sergeant in the Marine Corps, is talking about going to get her gun and about pulling her gun on this man. So I know there's pictures going around, and there's pictures around of her that looks like, you know, she's bruised and beat up, and we don't know what happened. I'm sure that stuff will come out. Listen, I'm not here to sit here and say Dalvin Cook, you know, those pictures with her going around, hey, you know, alleged pictures of her going around, that, hey, he beat the crap out of her. I'm also not here to say, hey, what if she broke into his place, because that's what is alleged, that she broke into his place and he defended himself. I mean, did she post those pictures of herself bruised and stuff, but it was a result of self-defense, or did he legitimately cross the line on no man should cross and lay his hands on a woman? I don't know. I don't have access to the court files, so I'm not going to sit here and say this is true or that is true. All I'm going to sit here is present you further evidence. We showed you a couple days ago the filing from last year. Now we're showing you video that his agents recorded where first of all, she's apparently holding his hair at some point, won't let go. Second of all, she straight up threatens to pull a gun on him. I'm just sitting here saying, I would not, you know, I said this before and I'll say it again. Don't think for a minute none of these teams have not done their homework and their research on the situation. Obviously, teams feel comfortable enough to put an offer on the table with him. And people are still confused. Well, why did he offer her $1 million? I've told all of y'all this. Listen, I'm going to tell you this again. Listen to me. Listen to this from a business standpoint. Don't listen to this. Don't think with your woke culture, whatever you want to think with. Think of this from a business standpoint, okay? If you got someone who's not going away, they will not go away no matter what would you rather do? Pay them $800,000, $1 million so they don't affect your $10, $20, $30 million down the line? Or are you going to battle with them for years and it's just going to be drug out and potentially affect your money? Because right now, it might be, hey, teams might be cool with bringing him on, but it might be affecting his money. We know GMs will use anything they can use to get you at a lower cost, especially at that position. So, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? You got some people that want to settle, and you got some people that, because they want it just to be over and done with, and you got other people that are just like, you know what, I'll fight it to the end, blah, 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 blah. He's probably like, yo, I just want her to go away. That's what I don't know, I'm assuming. So, again, I've talked to people in his camp and around his camp. You know, this is a much deeper story than, you know, this. I'm going to tell you this, man. Listen. All I'm going to say is this. Abusive relationships don't always go just one way, okay? Understand it's not always the man. Just understand. You'll have abusive relationships where the man is the abuser. You'll have abusive relationships where the woman is the abuser. You'll have abusive relationships where the man abuses the woman and the woman abuses the man. It's like a cycle. So just remember that. Like, it's not always a one-way street in abusive relationships. And it's not always not always. Don't always assume it's the dude. Because I'll tell you this. Just because a dude plays running back, let me ask y'all this. Just because a dude plays running back in the NFL, do you think he's trained in hand-to-hand combat like a sergeant in the military? Whether they're in their Marine Corps or not? Who do you think's got the better hand-to-hand training? And you can say, okay, well, it's a woman. He can overpower, sure. But, these, especially in the Marines, these men, they're trained to kill. Okay? They are trained to kill, my friends. So I'm just saying, just because you play, dude, and listen, I always say this, one of the things my stepdad, not even my dad, always told me, because my stepdad was a brawler, man. My stepdad was a brawler. And, my stepdad's going through Alzheimer's. It's just crazy to watch him, just be turned into a shell of himself because of how strong of a man he was, my stepfather. And it's just one of the shocking things of life when you see someone go through that. Anyways, I digress. He used to always tell me, because he was a tall guy, right? My stepfather was 6'4", and he would always say, he'd always tell me, listen, I'm not worried about the big guys or the guys my size. He's like, I was always worried about the smaller guys. The guys that you got to punch down and they're punching up. All it takes is one punch coming upwards, and it's good night. You're seeing birdies. You know what I mean? And again, she might be a little bit smaller, but I'm going to tell you this much. Listen to her in that clip. She don't sound like she'd want to be tested or played with. She sounds like a very strong woman. That's all I'm going to say. She sounds like a very strong woman. And that is not a knock. She's battle-tested, hard-tested. I mean, look at what she came up in. You got to respect the hell out of, all this allegation stuff aside, you got to respect the hell out of women that climb the ranks in any army around the world, because that is a very, very difficult task. Very difficult. They are climbing a man's world, so you got to show a ton of respect, but you also got to realize they got to be hardened to be able to do that kind of stuff. So all I'm saying is, listen, I've seen the video. It's craziness, but, again, let's let all this play out, all right? Let's wait to get all the facts. Again, that video is a year old. I was just playing it because some people haven't seen it yet. But let's get all the facts. This stuff will come out if it doesn't get settled. And if it does get settled and go away, all the better. And this is not just a Dolphin thing. This is just for, a young man trying to continue to get his money in this world. You know what I mean? So if he's innocent, he deserves it. He should be getting all the money. If he's guilty and he did cross the line no man should cross, and he raised his hand unprovoked to a woman, then he deserves all the hell he gets in the world. But from what I understand, that's not the case. So we'll see how it all plays out. Again, something to monitor. Now, speaking of Dalvin Cook, continuing our Dalvin Cook update, he is in no rush, apparently, to make a decision. He was at his camp in Minnesota, and he was interviewed by a local station, and this is what he said in the clip.
Is it kind of emotional being back in Minnesota?
Yeah, I love it. It is. This place means a lot to me and my family. They gave me and my family a great opportunity, at life, and, I got drafted here, so they gave me an opportunity at my dream, and I appreciate them for everything they did for me and my family.
How close are you to signing with the team?
At this moment, it's kind of just taking my time and being patient with the process. You can't rush this. This is a life decision that can, put me in a great predicament for my future. So I'm just taking my time, and I'm not rushing it. And, when I make that decision, it's going to be right for me and my family.
AKA, he doesn't have an offer on the table he likes right now that's making him make a knee-jerk reaction or budge from his stance right now. I just dropped the episode of 3 Takes yesterday for Patreons. And one of the things I talked about in that episode of 3 Takes was, from what I understand, the Miami Dolphins have not increased their offer from that initial offer that I told all y'all I was privy to. of $4 million plus incentives. They have not increased their offer. So, and from what I understand, no team has increased their offer or changed their stance. And so Dalvin Cook's stance has not changed. He says he's not in a rush. That's where it is. You know what I mean? So we'll continue to watch this play out. You know, today there was a, you know, Nyheim Hines from Buffalo. He was involved in a freak jet ski accident. If people didn't hear about this, apparently he was stationary on his jet ski and he got hit, and he required it was a serious injury, and he required surgery, and he's going to miss the whole season. So, I mean, here we are. You know what I mean? Freak accidents already happening at the position. You know, again, from what I've been led to believe, though, that is James Cook's backfield, and Dalvin has no interest in going there and trying to take the backfield from his brother. You know what I mean? That's what I've been told. Right now, who has the more leverage? I think right now the leverage is with the Dolphins. Because the leverage isn't with Cook until he gets a $7 million offer or an $8 million offer. Right? So, the leverage right now is with the Dolphins. All right, let's get into all of this, though. Tyreek Hill. The good news, guys. Today was a good news day. Let's get into this. Things are getting settled as veterans report tomorrow. Love to see it. Over 360 of you in the chat. Please smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. Let's start off with this. Tyreek Hill. The Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office review into an alleged physical altercation involving Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill last month continues, even as a report on Monday said the individuals at the center of the incident have reached a resolution. The parties to the incident, which occurred on June 18, 2023, at the Holdout Marina involving Tyreek Hill, have resolved their differences, ESPN reported, citing a joint statement from Julius Collins, the attorney for Hill, and Evan Feldman, an attorney for the employee of the Kelly Fleet, Inc. Ed Griffin, the spokesperson for the state attorney's office, later told the Herald in an email that the review into the matter is ongoing. All right. The Herald previously reported that Hill was sea fishing with friends with his agent on Father's Day when he exchanged words with at least two men who told him fishing from the Holdout Marina Park dock was off limits, and one accused Hill from slapping him in the back of the head. See, this part of the story is not true. This never happened. So I don't know why the Herald keeps reporting that, because that's not true. It never happened. That's not part of the issue. All right? We've gone over this. The issue was the two women on a boat that they weren't supposed to be on. So that's not true. Okay? Because the police report, they speak of the police report here, and the police report did not even mention this. So that's not true. And like I said, I got my information from someone who spoke directly to the dockmaster at Holdover. So a police report did not name Hill, but said that when the employee approached the group, a man thought to be the Dolphin star began arguing with them, slapping him in the neck area with an open hand before being restrained by a few people. According to people who work on the dock, Hill noticed the large tarpon in the relatively shallow water near the dock, which are attracted by fish scraps from the dock boats. Fishing from the dock is not allowed at the marina, but Hill may have been giving conflicting information. Sources said he asked the captain if he could fish. So, again, they're talking about this. The report does not talk about this. See, that's why they're saying, not according to the report, they're saying according to people who work on the dock. Okay? And then they go, and then they differentiate the report. The report, which does not name the victim, said the incident was recorded early evening on June 18th via surveillance cameras, and the man who was struck had no visible injuries. The manager of the Kelly fishing fleet located at the marina interacted with the group before the altercation about renting a boat, but they passed because it was too expensive, according to the report. Police were never called to the dock, and the man accused Hill of slapping him reported the incident the following day. The Miami-Dade police later forwarded information to the state attorney's office for further review. The NFL, which reportedly requested footage from the alleged altercation, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. So still, there is misinformation being spread here. That Tarpon story is it's bullshit. I don't know what they're talking about. I mean, we've covered this with Andy Slater. I mean, you guys have seen Andy Slater, and the police report doesn't even mention any about this tarpon fishing and him being told the incident was the 2 women on the boat. That's why they talk about the report talking about rent the boat. It's too expensive. They were talking about, well, you can rent the boat these 2 women are on. And they said no. So I don't know what the issue was, the women on the boat. It was not tarpon fishing. So I don't know what's going on with why the Herald keeps reporting that when that's already been proven to be false. But either way, here's the deal. We have reached a resolution with the incident and the issue at hand about assault allegations, whether it's monetary or whatever the case may be. I don't know. I haven't got word on that because I'm not tied into that part. I was just tied into the doc issue. So I don't know. But, now the attention turns to the NFL. I know people are worried, maybe he's a repeat offender and they've had to look at him. Well, they've never given him a punishment before due to something like this at the NFL level. So I don't know. Listen, I don't think anything's gonna come of this. All these people who are out here fear mongering and getting all of y'all worked up, acting like this guy's gonna do 25 to life over this stuff. They're real quiet right now, aren't they? Real quiet right now, huh? Like you would think Tyreek's about to be on an episode of America's Most Wanted, and I'm over here telling all of y'all, guys, they didn't even put him in handcuffs. They didn't even arrest him. So I don't know what's going on with this. So all I know is we're at a resolution stage. I don't think I see anything coming of it because remember, we also knew the video evidence, for example, right? The video evidence in this case from the surveillance cameras, remember, reports came out that it was blurry and it was basically, it didn't help in this case at all. So we'll see how that goes. So there's one good piece of news. Tyreek Hill heading into training camp. That headache we don't have to worry about. Next good piece of news we got about 400 of you in the room. Please smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. Next good piece of news. While Chris Jones stays away from Chiefs camp in search of a new deal, defensive tackle for a potential extension, Christian Wilkins, plans to report to Dolphins camp per source. Christian Wilkins will not hold out. And I've been told, again, it's been reiterated to me. Like I reported weeks ago to all of you, first the Patreons and the channel members, then to all of you publicly here. Both sides believe, yes, they are apart on money, like me and Neil reported months ago, but they both believe that a deal is going to get done. And I've been told that hasn't changed. Both sides believe a deal is going to get done. Remember, reported that's why he went to OTAs, because I was told that both sides believe a deal is going to get done. I'm told it's of the same thought process on both sides. They both believe a deal is going to get worked out. So Christian Wilkins showing good faith, etc., etc. So Christian Wilkins, we do not have to worry about a holdout or a headache from one of the best leaders on the team. And speaking of potential holdouts, Drew Rosenhaus was on WSVN Fox 7 last night, and he said Connor Williams and Zach Sieler will report on time to training camp. Both players are entering the final year of their contract. Now, we know Connor Williams had held out of OTAs. We know that. But, Sieler, whatever you want to say, he attended in good faith, and it looks like he's going to continue to attend in good faith. So, he's got Zach Sieler. He's one who should be, if I was him, he's someone who should probably not have a lot of faith in a potential deal getting done, he's got all the reason to believe they won't get a deal done with him because Christian Wilkins' money, right? If Christian Wilkins is going to be taking $18+ million up, let's be real with ourselves, right? You know, chances are, if that's the deal, if that's the word, if that's the case, if that's what's happening, well, guess what? The chances are there ain't going to be money left for you, Zach. That's just how it works. I don't know what else to say. So, you know, and Drew Rosenhaus, you know, he's notorious. He has a great relationship, obviously, with the Dolphins and getting deals done. So, you know, if anyone's going to know, you know, the likelihood of a deal getting done with the Dolphins, it's going to be a guy like Drew Rosenhaus, right? So he's either saying, hey, don't worry, we'll get it done to his client, or what he probably is saying, listen, pay it out. Because like I've told you and like I've reported, the word on the street that I've heard is Zach Sieler is going to be asking for top 15 money. And that is nothing to shake a stick at by any stretch of the imagination, right? And that's the word that I'm getting, that Zach Sieler is going to be asking for top 15 money. You know, we might always talk about how underrated Zach Sieler is, but trust me, his camp doesn't think he's underrated, and there's a lot of defensive minds in the NFL right now. They don't think he's underrated, and I think he is going to get paid. I do think Zach Sieler is going to get paid for sure. So we'll see how that all works out. But, hey, there we go. No holdouts. No holdouts on the horizon. Love it. Love it. Love her. You know, you can't keep everyone. I see everyone saying I'd hate to lose Zach Sieler. I'd hate to lose him too. I would hate to lose him too, but the reality is, especially as we've accumulated all this talent, you can't keep everyone. That's what sucks when you accumulate all this talent. That's one of the downfalls of getting into a Super Bowl window with a stacked roster, especially if you win. Because some guys are going to get their chip and say, okay, money's all that matters. Right? It's just a reality. It happens with every team. And even better news, it keeps getting better for Dolphin fans. Over 415 of you in the room, smash that like button. Miami Dolphins starting safety Brandon Jones, who suffered that left ACL injury during a Week 7 game last year against the Pittsburgh Steelers, is expected to be on the field practicing with his teammates this week, a league source said, told Adam Kaplan of PFN. And he could be on the field as early as Wednesday when the team has its first practice, barring an unforeseen setback. Jones, who enters camp in the final season of his 4-year rookie deal, is set to earn $2.7 million. Veteran cornerback Nick Needham, with the torn Achilles, who re-signed with the team back in March, was placed on the PUP list last week, so he can be activated at any time. Can Nick Needham, but I mean that is some good news. You know, Brandon Jones, he's in the final year of his contract, new defense, new coach, and he realizes, listen, I can't afford to miss snaps. I can't afford to miss time. I got to get out there. I got to make things happen because I'm in a contract year, and I got to impress a new coach who's looking to be impressed in Vic Fangio. So, huge, lot of great news coming out the day before the Veterans Report. A lot of great news coming out before the day before the Veterans Report. Great stuff, man. So, let's get into some fun stuff here. All right? Let's get into it. Now, Bleacher Report, they came out with their 2023 NFL power rankings, all right, where every team stacks up entering into training camp, all right? So 32 Arizona, 31 Houston, 30 Chicago, 29 Tampa, 28 Indianapolis, 27 Atlanta, 26 Carolina, 25 Vegas, 24 Green Bay, 23 Washington, 22 Tennessee, 21 Los Angeles, 20 New England, 19 Denver, 18 New Orleans, 17 the Giants, 16 the Lions. I think the Lions should be higher. They're going to sneak up on everyone this year. The Lions are going to be dangerous, especially if Goff plays as good as he did last year. Watch out. The Vikings at 15, Steelers at 14, the Browns at 13, Seahawks at 12, the Jets at 11, the Chargers at 10, the Jags at 9, the Ravens at 8, and the Dolphins enter the top 10 at 7. The Miami Dolphins made the playoffs last year, but it was a tale of two seasons for them. When quarterback Tua Tagovailoa was on the field, the Dolphins were an offensive juggernaut and looked like a potential Super Bowl contender. When Tagovailoa was injured, it was another story altogether. Tagovailoa's health has been dominant storyline surrounding the Dolphins this offseason, but Sobleski thinks the additions Miami made on defense could be the real difference maker. Last season's Miami's offense finished 6th overall, while the defense ranked 18th, he wrote. 3 particular additions could turn this group into a top 5 unit. First, Vic Fangio joined the coaching staff as defensive coordinator. Since returning to the NFL in 2011, Fangio has fielded 7 top 10 defenses and 5 top 5 units. Second, Jalen Ramsey is a massive improvement at cornerback, opposite of Xavier Howard. Finally, David Long is an upgrade at inside linebacker because of his ability to play in space. Miami should legitimately compete for an AFC East title and enter the Super Bowl conversation. Add that improved defense to Miami's loaded offense, and Sobleski may be right if Tagovailoa stays healthy. He's got Dallas at 6, San Fran at 5, the Bills at 4, the Eagles at 3, the Bengals at 2, and the Chiefs at 1. Let me know what you guys think, because listen, I think we're top on paper. You know, I think we're better than Dallas. You know, I've said this. I think we are in that 4 to 6 range. It all depends on the quarterback situation with San Francisco. That's what it all comes down to. If they don't have that figured out, well, I like our roster better overall if our guy stays healthy. But I think we're up there with the Niners. I think we're up there with the Eagles and the Bengals and the Chiefs. I think those are the top 5 teams right now. The 49ers, the Dolphins, the Eagles, the Bengals, and the Chiefs. That's what I said. I think the Bills I think the Bills are going to regress. I've said this. So, where do you rank? If you were making your power rankings, do the Dolphins enter your top 10? And if they do, where would you have them in your top 10? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the live chat. Let me know in the comments if you're watching this after the fact. I want to hear that. And, guys, is Stephen A. all of a sudden a Tua believer? You might be asking me, what am I talking about? Well, Stephen A. Smith, he picked Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill as the best cornerback wide receiver combo, even arguing with a girl on the panel who picked Diggs and Allen as the best combo. He's out here defending Tua in the Dolphins' honor. I don't believe my eyes.
Kimberly, ridiculous position because, damn it, they ain't even play together yet, okay? Can they throw a pass together in a regular
Here's what I've seen. I've seen Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs play together, and I've heard Stephon Diggs say, why don't I get the ball? If I'm so good, why don't I get the ball?
All right, that's him. But I'm talking about your pick. Him, I agree with you there. Here's what I would tell you about Tua, because my answer is Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Listen, they only played in 13 games together, okay? This guy, number 1 in deep throws. I like to throw that out there, okay? Mahomes, better than Mahomes, okay? Better than Josh Allen, better than Joe Burrow when it came to the deep throw, okay? You're talking about him 27 to 50 for 54% of his passes completed, 122.1 passer rating on deep throws. This is Tua I'm talking about, to Tyreek Hill, 88 catches, tied for 8, 1,299 yards, tied for 4th. 7 TD catches, also tied for 11. 86% of the catches were for first downs. When Tua is on the field and healthy, with Tyreek Hill running 23 miles per hour on that football field, that's a tandem that I love.
You said all those numbers, sound like Chris Canty on the show saying all those numbers, and yet you can't tell me, will Tua be healthy? Everything about the Dolphins right now is big double asterisk. If Tua is healthy, you can't tell me all the numbers. Listen, don't tell me I think Tua's phenomenal because I was there when he threw 6 touchdowns against the Ravens. I've seen it, but we still don't know if he's going to be healthy.
We have to go. All I'm going to say to you is this. I think she's wrong, but I am so proud. I am so proud, RC, how she got bold and she spoke out like that.
Okay, so here's my thing. You can't project anyone's health heading into the season. I mean, we all remember Joe Burrow had the ACL injury in his rookie year. What if something, knock on wood, I don't want to wish an injury on anyone. What if something happens to the ACL again? You don't know. See, you can't project injury for anyone. You can't. All you can do is hope they've put in the work and they do their best work during the season to avoid injury. That's it. Every player in the NFL is exactly what Burnt Grass in the comments is saying. Every player in the NFL is one hit away. Every player in the NFL. Hockey is the same way. Every player in hockey is one hit away. Don't believe me? Go ask Eric Lindros. Okay? Speaking of Tua, we got to brag a little bit here because we know it matters with single high and too high coverage. Especially, we see a lot of too high shells due to the speed we have. We always talk about Tua's efficiency, and I always talk about how him and Mahomes were the most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL last year. Well, check this out. Look at 2022 QBA EPA, 2022 QB EPA versus single and too high coverages. I want people to realize what we're looking at here. Against too high coverages, all right? Let's put this into perspective right here. Against too high coverages, Tua, 6th best in the NFL. Against single high coverages, Tua, by a wide margin, the best in the NFL. This is what we're talking about when we're talking about elite efficiency. Top 6 against too high. Number 1 against single high and expected points added, which is one of the great efficiency analytics out there. Keep those big arms. Give me elite efficiency, high football IQ, and elite accuracy, baby, all day of the week. All day. All day. Huge. Love it. Right in front of your face. Sorry, they're talking about Tua and Tyreek. We had to go. It was a perfect segue, no? Can't tell me it wasn't. Continuing on here, great article from Marcel Louis-Jacques. And, with training camp tomorrow, and especially because we were ranked 18th last year, and with a 6th ranked offense, we're just waiting on that defense to catch up. How quickly can Fangio turn around this Miami Dolphins defense? The Miami Dolphins open their training camp Wednesday at the Baptist Health Training Complex in Miami Gardens. Here's a closer look at a few storylines. The biggest question for Marcel Louis-Jacques is how quickly can defensive coordinator Vic Fangio turn this defense around? That side of the ball was the obvious weak point for the Miami Dolphins last season, but injuries and depth concerns didn't help its cause. This year, the Dolphins have one of the best defensive minds in NFL history and star talent and depth at essentially every position, and there's little reason to believe they can't be a top 10 defense in 2023. But it takes time to learn a new scheme, more time than a handful of spring practices. There will be some growing pains this summer, but if you subscribe to the theory that iron sharpens iron, this defense will be tested by one of the NFL's best offenses every day. There's a lot of pressure on Fangio to get his side of the ball in order because the Dolphins' regular season goes from 0 to 100 quickly. 3 of their first 4 games are on the road against the Chargers, the Patriots, and the Bills. The most impactful offensive addition, Jalen Ramsey. It's a toss-up, but since we've already addressed Vic Fangio, the answer here is Ramsey. The former All-Pro cornerback was voted the third best player at his position in an ESPN poll and forms a tandem with a player who narrowly missed out the top 10 and fellow former All-Pro Xavier Howard. Miami was a serious Howard injury away from a dire situation at cornerback last season, and even with him healthy, its depth at the position was a major concern. Ramsey alongside Howard and safety Javon Holland give Fangio 3 quality physical playmakers in the defensive secondary who should make the Dolphins difficult to pass the ball against. And then The fiercest fantasy relevant battle at training camp is for him is running back, and it's not particularly close. Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson split carries last season and figured to do the same in 2023 after signing a pair of 2-year deals. But the Dolphins threw a wrench into their equation by drafting speedster Devin Achane in the 3rd round of the NFL draft. It's not immediately clear how many carries the rookie will siphon away from the vets, but he should have a role fairly quickly as a receiver out of the backfield. Speaking of receivers, Braxton Berrios and Robbie Chosen will duke it out for the 3rd receiver spot, vacated by Trent Sherfield, but neither figures to be a reliable fantasy option. Achane is a fantasy X factor in Miami's offense. And for him, the player with the most to prove, and I'm sure a lot of you would agree with this, Austin Jackson. The Dolphins declined to exercise the 5th-year option for 2 of their 3 first-round picks from 2020, including Jackson and Noah Benogany. The latter will have to scrap to remain on the 53-man roster, but Miami believes Jackson can be a viable starter. However, for the first time since drafting him, the team added legitimate competition for him by signing Isaiah Wynn and Cedric Ogbuehi. Jackson had a strong training camp last year, but was injured in week 1 and never got going. He'll have to turn in a similar summer performance in order to keep the starting right tackle job, but the margin of error is slim with 2 former first-round picks right behind him. So there you go. Marcel Louis-Jacques. He thinks Fangio and Ramsey were the biggest offseason additions. I think we'd all agree. And his biggest question, it's not the offensive line. It's none of that. It's how quickly can Vic Fangio turn this defense around. Interesting. And, I mean, we can all agree. We all knew Devin Achane was the most fantasy relevant, story heading into this. But his player with the most to prove is Austin Jackson. Not even saying it's a tie between Liam Eichenberg, who looks like he could be relegated to backup center and swing guard. Liam Eichenberg has just as much to prove as Austin Jackson. Just as much. I mean, Noah Benogany, he's got a ton to prove too. Hell, talking about players to prove. But Austin Jackson for him, and he cites the reason that the Dolphins still believe in him. So, interesting stuff. And then it was announced today, guys, for week 1, Dolphins at Chargers, 4:25 p.m. Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, Melanie Collins will be covering the Dolphins game week 1. 4:25. Man, we're going to be into the early evening on week 1, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be watching football till 7:30 Eastern together, and then, you already know what time it is. We'll do the 4th quarter post-game show after the fact, where all you can come on the live panel. That's when we open up the live panel season returns for all of you. So, I mean, man. And we are on the cuffs. Tomorrow, the players report. And we will have podium interviews amongst other stories I'm sure will be coming out. And then Wednesday will be the first practice the media will be at. And like I said, I will be live with Richmond and Ball Game for that. Cannot wait for the finish line on Wednesday. And then me and Neil will be live on Thursday. It's a big week. It is a big week. A lot going on. If you're a card collector, Topps Chrome Baseball comes out Wednesday. I know I'm buying a jumbo and a hobby. And, man, it's a big week. Training camp starts. And then this weekend, Sunday, I'll be live, obviously, because first open camp to the public will be on Sunday. Man, it's going to be ramping up, and they're not waiting. They're hitting the ground running on the Lord's Day. You know what I mean? They are. It's a big week, and it's a good time to be a Dolphin fan. We've been all waiting for this season to kick off, and we're getting one step closer. Guys, over 400 of you in the room, please smash the like button. Subscribe if you are new. Stetson, you're in Toronto for vacation. Attaboy. Where you at in Toronto, Stetson? Let me know in the comments. I love it. Alf in the comments. Shout out to the homie Alf and everything. The boys at 3 yards per carry said once Tua starts hitting that corner route against box 6, it's a wrap. Bro. Dude, wait till the people see these. People don't understand. I keep talking the levels this man's about to unlock this year. The levels Tua is about to unlock this year. I'm telling you, man. I don't say this as a homer. I don't say this as a Tua near or anything. I really think this offense can be historic this year. Tua is about to dice outside the numbers this year. Let's be honest with ourselves. We're going to see more zip, more velocity outside the numbers this year. Nick's already let me know. We've seen some videos. Man, it's going to be a fun year, man. I cannot wait. To get this thing kicked off, to get this thing going. Please do me the favor. Hill and Waddle, first 2K wide receiver duo in the NFL. I don't know about 2K each, but I'm here for 2K for Hill and 1,500 for Waddle. All right, I'm here for Stetson. You're in Mississauga. Oh man, what are you doing in Saga, Stetson? I'm actually not far from Mississauga whatsoever. That's crazy. You're just outside Toronto. You're in the GTA. You're in the Greater Toronto area. Man, enjoy the food. Sauga's got a lot of good food, brother. A lot of good food in Mississauga. A lot of diversity. Out there. So, Adrian says he fished for salmon there. Hey. Come get your salmon. Come get your trout. So, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to be back tomorrow for the first day, obviously, for the reporting. GTA, Grand Theft Auto, Greater Toronto area. There you go. I'm going to be back tomorrow for the players reporting. Jason says, don't sleep on Feeney. He handled Wilkins last year in the second meeting. Hey, I'm not doubting Feeney, but I'm also not counting on Feeney. I need Isaiah Wynn to take that step. Smash that like button on the way out. Yeah, that offensive line battle is going to be very interesting. That's a big one to watch this year. I can't wait. Smash that like button on the way out. I'll be back tomorrow when the players report, and we'll go over a lot of things that are said in the news that comes out the first day of reporting. Until next time, you already know what time it is. Fins up, baby. I'll see y'all then.